It's a pleasure and an honor to be here on behalf of Patria Unida Foundation and to be the voice of millions of Mexicans who see in the United States a friendly nation, a shared culture, the home of over 36 million Mexicans. Holding this event among Alliance Institute honors us, but especially commits us. Allow me, before getting the topic, tell you why I'm here representing Patria Unida. 3 years ago, my husband Humberto and I take a decision that changed our life. We decided to leave everything behind, to start a conservative think tank, to do these kind of things, to work, to make allies, and with the mission of speak always the truth. We come from the public service and also for the private sector, but we understand that our country really needed is people who can speak the truth and defend the truth always, as Charlie Kirk did here. This is why we create Patria Unida in Mexico, and this is what we are doing in Mexico. From its foundation, we understand that Mexico only salvation in a face of an authoritarian regime that is always persecuting the opposition, that is allied with organized crime, that hates our values and our virtues. We came down with two options. The first one, the path of the comfortable silence, the digital criticism, and the lamentation, or the path of the courage, the proposals, and the action. And today we are joined two brave allies to whom we are very, very grateful for the trust that they have deposited in Patria Unida. Senator Lili Telles, an honorable woman, and Dr. Rodrigo, member of our foundation board, the kind of Mexican that our country needs. Our motivation is really clear: to leave our children a Mexico where they can be deeply proud of, and to give to our friends in the United States the certainty that you can count on us as a serious partner. But I'm not gonna lie, I have to say the truth. Mexico is going through a critical moment. Clearly, this government is colluded with the organized crime. The most real and strongest opposition that Morena narco government faces is called Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, and Christopher Landau. It's called America First Policy Institute, Texas Public Policy Foundation, and Heritage Foundation. You are the best opposition this narco government is facing. The current narco government, which ceded power and territory to the organized crime, has dismantled this republic. Today, we are not anymore a republic. We are an authoritarian regime. There is no more separation of powers after they take off the judiciary. They are not more any check and balances. Democracy, let's see what's happened next year. Political opposition, timid, and without real proposals that can really help the problems of our people. Families often have to decide whether to pay extortions to the narcos or to flee their land. Just see what happened last year in Sinaloa, and it still happens. And we face another war, little discussed, but equally destructive. Both the government and most of the false opposition groups have adopted woke ideology agenda, playing the fact of culture of death and cancellation, a direct attack to the West, because they want to destroy Christianity. Some underestimate the courageous alternative. Others persecuted. And you're gonna say, where is there still hope in Mexico? Well, I'm happy to tell you, yes, there is still hope. We are a country that, in the face of adversity, has shown the greatness of our solidarity and of our people. The media do not publish it, but Mexico still remains the 15th largest economy in the world by nominal GDP. The purchasing poverty party, it is also among the world's 13 largest, the second largest economy in Latin America after Brazil. We export more manufactured goods than all other Latin American countries together. We are still the 6th most visited country in the world. Mexico's future is not false in messiahs who sell us salvation and promise to rescue our country in 1 year. We need to think in long term. The salvation in our country is going to be in a long term, not just in 1 year. We don't need more false prophecies who just in order to receive some funding send themselves as political saviors. To rescue Mexico, we need to think in long term, founding the strength of the Mexican who not may be in the headlines, but that are the really example of life in our country. In every farmer, in every work, doctor, grower, teacher, soldier, engineer, priest, journalist, in every father and mother who daily give their lives to build business, educate committed citizens, save life, ensure peace, publish, defend the truth. It is civil society, through strategy and organization, that will once again rescue and lift the greatness of our nation. The magnitude of our challenges, drugs and arms trafficking, migration, violence, poverty, is too great to face alone. Morena may dislike it, but we have to say this. We must achieve the highest level of cooperation between Mexico and the United States. And I'm gonna repeat it. We must achieve the highest level of cooperation between Mexico and the United States. Because when Mexico and the United States stand together, crime loses ground, democracy gains space, and freedom thrives. And this is why we are here, to work together with you. 2 days ago, Humberto and I celebrate our 6 years of marriage, and we were talking about thanks. And we were talking about this. When we began the foundation, we were not yet parents, but we made us one question: what do we want to leave to our children? The first answer, opportunities, of course, a heritage that allows them to develop academically and professionally. And today, it's difficult to do that in Mexico. The secondly was the values that we can inculcate them at home, but that today are not enough, because when you go out of home, you are against all this woke agenda, and in Mexico, also against this narco culture that is prevalent in our youth. And thirdly, a Mexico where they can live freely and with dignity, as I said in my first intervention. So that conviction really changes the course of our lives. And as you can imagine, it has been a big adventure and a challenge. But we are pretty sure that is the best decision that we have made as a marriage and today as a family with 2 little kids. Because now that we have 2 children, there is no greater satisfaction as a parent that can look to the eyes to Humbertito and Pablo and to tell them that with them, because they are always with us in this kind of events, we did everything within in power to leave them a better country. And also, we have the responsibility of raising two kids from whom Mexico can feel proud. Because on this path, we realize that it is not only about legacy of a family, it is about the legacy of a nation. If we strengthen families, if we build culture of peace, of hope, if we weaken them, as this government tried to do, to destroy families, we risk losing the very soul of our country. And that is why Patria Unida exists. And in order to do this, we first to understand Mexico's problem and how we get to this moment, to this narco government. They came to power through democracy, allied with the organized crime to obtain resources and control of the territory and of the people. They dominated the media agenda through the Mañanera. They dismantled all the democratic institutions. They hand out money to secure votes and win the elections, forming networks and structures by using the poverty people in our country. They stole to get a supermajority in Congress. They enabling them to pass any constitutional reform. Now, they took over the judiciary. They threaten and control the opposition. They polarize and divided our society. They intimidate businessmen, making them afraid to question them. And they are destroying communities, beginning from families. What's next on their agenda? An electoral reform to take full control of elections and destroy the opposition. They threaten the media, seeking to control outlets and social networks, and total control over citizens, with the power to take them, imprison them, without due process. We must think as a strategist. Which primary actions can actually help us to dismantle this narco government in the short term? No, we need to think in long term, but we also have to think in short terms, in actions that really can help us to go against this narco government that is not going to be easy. Well, what their administration has done on security, raising awareness of Mexican realities, canceling visas for officials and businessmen linking to organized crime, and pursuing the President, Claudia Sheinbaum, to extradite and arrest cartel leaders. But I still need a little bit more. The visa cancellations are not enough. Evidence is needed. Request the extradition with proof of politicians linking to the organized crime, including the principal corrupt leaders. We need that. Freeze the accounts of politicians and businessmen tied to organized crime. You already have all the financial intelligence. You can do that. The review of the USMCA must go beyond trade. It must include democracy and the fight against crime. Prosperity cannot flourish where fear reigns. Markets cannot grow where crime dictates the rules. You must demand rule of law, judicial impartiality, and stop the electoral reform. This is crucial and is still possible. And I must warn that to pretend to ending the USMCA will worsen problems, because it will work Mexico's economy, increasing poverty. And that means more illegal migration, less formal work, and that means more people vulnerable to be recruited by organized crime, and a free trade agreement with China and with Russia, a regional risk at the border. Now, this is what the United States can support us, but we primarily, and that they're first responsible to save the problem is with us. It's another side. So that is why we are here. The solution will found as I said, in civil society. The great changes in Mexico happen because of civil society, when they get unite and organize. Civil society is the core of participation and democratic oversight. The government knows very well that, and this is why it faces an increasingly hostile environment for us. Morena has promoted a narrative that demonizes independent organization, and worst, if you are a conservative. You are the enemy of the nation. You are the traitor of Mexico, and we are not. We are the ones that are defending the truth. We are the ones that are defending common sense. And that's what we have to do. But they have imposed restriction also in funding terms. It was easier for us to get the 501c3 here in the United States than its equivalent in Mexico. They are suffocating regulation because the government wants to control us. They don't want to be civil society, his real opposition. The few politicians who bravely raise their voice and accuse and threaten as traitor to the nation, as Senator Lili Tellez happened. So, in this support, Patria Unida is a natural ally. We want to turn political will in action. We train and support leaders in both sides, the political sides, the public sides, but also in the private sector, convinced that planting leaders of character today guarantees tomorrow governments with integrity. Patria Unida does not replace governments, but we are a bridge of trust. We bring together the voices of businessmen, the courage of the families, and the honest politicians that want to be right things. Think tanks that denounce and propose are the real guides that can save our country. We must ensure that their lights doesn't not go out, and we need your help to do that. And we are facing an authoritarian regime. Claudia Sheinbaum represents the worst of the left in political meaning because they are allied with all the dictatorship in Latin America. They are socialists and they are communists. But she also represents the worst of the woke ideology and the Marxism. But Mexico are not Morena. The Mexicans are not Claudia Sheinbaum, and we are not Morena. And we have a lot to do at the local level. And we have hope at local level with presidents from Querétaro, Chihuahua, Guanajuato, some of the Estado de Mexico. In all the country, you can find good people. And at the federal level, you also have voices that actually are speaking the truth and are saying what they have to say. Even they are knowing risk, as Senator Lili Tellez is going to tell you later. So we put all our hope on that good people that is working every day to face this authoritarian regime and to make Mexico, again, a good ally to the United States. Mexico is not just a problem. It's an historic opportunity to frame, to prove that freedom can prevail in the region, to prove that Mexico could be a good neighbor and good ally because we share values, because we share families, because we share culture. In the middle of the violence, there are those who refuse to give up. Young people, journalists, businessmen, activists, and think tanks, and good politicians. As long as there are citizens willing to serve, no tyranny and no cartel will have the last word. Well, it has been an immense honor for me to represent Mexico. An immense honor and undeserved honor. But it is possible in a country generous with its youth, a country of young people. A country that has shown that bad government will not silence a generation willing to take full responsibility and courage in risking our democratic institutions and defending to the last consequences the freedom of our compatriots, a generation of leaders that are aspiring to the highest ideals. If we are writing together the history of our nation, let us write one worthy to be remembered.